I just ran across a pretty dope video from Lindsay Adler, which was interesting because I know her as the lighting goddess. So it was pretty nice to see her pulling back the curtain in a meaningful way. And that video was about ChatGPT for photographers, right? And I know the conversation about AI is such a sensitive one in our community. And it almost feels like if you check the temperature in a room, using AI in any way, shape, or form in this industry is a curse word. Um, and I use AI quite a bit, and specifically ChatGPT as well. So it was cool that she sort of broke the ice, and I wanted to do a video that's not so much a but or an and, but it's an also, and also how I use ChatGPT, and it's a lot of it's in the same direction of which she used it. You should definitely check out her video as well. The more context, the merrier. But for me, ChatGPT has been this really invaluable tool, and I shouldn't say ChatGPT. I should say AI because today I'm using ChatGPT. I'm using Gemini, and I just recently started to use Claude, and they each have their strong points, which I'll get into toward the end of the video. Um, but making a business out of this passion we have is not an easy thing, and what I've run across, what continues to echo in the halls of advice, and what I'm seeing play out again and again, your technical abilities as a photographer, your creative goodness as a photographer means nothing in this world of business. In this world of business, as a business photographer, you want to simplify things as much as possible. You want to make things repeatable. You want them to be to almost be a habit, and you want to do it in a way that's most efficient and that you can copy and paste again and again and again. And then you want to charge for that. So like this idea that we're as creatives, a starving creative, like not so much. And when you wrap your head around what it means to be a business photographer, the first part of that is a business, and that is where it gets pretty difficult because us as creatives ain't that's not our strong suit, business. And I'm gonna put a wild number out there: 80% of my photography business is business. And that means 80% of the time I'm uncomfortable. I have to figure out how to price things. I have to figure out how to communicate, how to come across. I have to figure out when I'm sitting there editing an image for 30 minutes, that's too long. My client doesn't care. My client doesn't care about color grading. My client doesn't care about uh, the dodge and burn and frequency separation. Like it's these little things where you need to pull yourself out of that creative world and spend less time there and more time on the business portion, right? And I always say this one example for those of you, when I have this conversation, for those people who say, yeah, that'll never be me because I got to make sure my product is the best. But like, there are so many trash restaurants around us that you know the food is terrible, you know the food is trash, you know they're charging way too much for the food, but it's still a successful business. Let that sit where it may. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, they form this reinforcement around what I lack as a business person. And they've helped me develop that business sense. They've helped me really snap out of the creative part and get going on the business side. So much so today that if I look at my prices, I don't recognize my prices. And that's the problem. Would I pay for that? No, but I'm not my customer. You understand what I mean? Like there's a very real disconnect there. So using ChatGPT in a way that it is a it is a business advisor for me. is so meaningful. And then when you even come back to the creative portion of things, using ChatGPT in a way that fills in the blanks to what I have as a creative is very important. I'm not a creative director, right? Like there's so many instances where I look at a model and I go, man, I love this person's look. How would I fit that into a session? It's difficult. What's the mood of the session? What's the lighting gonna be? Is it one light, two light, three lights? What's the backdrop gonna be? Is it low key? Is it high key? Is it gonna be a textured backdrop, a solid backdrop? What's the poses I'm going for? What's the micro expressions that I'm gonna try to pull out from the model? What is it I want this session to communicate? These are a very real anxiety inducing questions that I have to deal with every time I'm approaching a model and I want to capture something. That's the job of a creative director. And I think what creative directors do is so important. It's so dope. These people are creatives in their own right. And it's a skill that I don't have. And it's a skill that I'm happy to offload to ChatGPT. And I'm not saying that ChatGPT is replacing the creative director. What I'm saying is I'm having a hard time getting a creative director in my network to work with me, and ChatGPT is allowing me to hop along until that maturity in my network. And think about my website, coming up with the copy, coming up with the verbiage of what should be on my website, how it should read, to whom it should communicate. It still needs to be SEO and GEO compliant. I'm out of my league, but ChatGPT allows me to do these things. It allows me to get it good enough that way I can proceed. And I urge you guys to think about your business in this way. Whatever tool can help you, use it. Let's put away the hubris and the pride and just get the job done. Mouths need to be fed around here. And so let's take a look. So yes, I'm an IT professional, so this comes from a perspective that's maybe a little more, a tad bit advanced than what's out there already, but it gets even deeper in the weeds. And I'm not taking you down the prompt engineering route, and I'm still learning a lot of it for myself. So this right here is what I found to be good enough. And in the world of IT, there's a phrase that rings very true to AI and prompt engineering, and that's really garbage in, garbage out. Yes, you can go in ChatGPT and tell it, give me a pricing structure for my photography business, and it will do it. But the idea is you need to feed it enough context to allow it to give you a more nuanced and specific answer. And this is what I want to show you today. And the first step to this, to what I find of really refining how we ask the AI things in a very humanoid way, is to create a prompt writer. And I know, like, I picked this up from Reddit. It was like, why sit here and rack my brain and copy and paste everyone else's prompts that they say work, or try to come up with my own, when I can simply just create a project in ChatGPT that's highly specialized in taking what I ask it and translate it into a prompt that it can do better for me. Let's take a look. To save you time, here's the instruction set that I am going to paste in the comments for you, and well, in the description for you. Just copy and paste it. And really what you want to do is set up a new project. And in ChatGPT, and this is part of the paid subscription, the $20, which I urge you to get. This allows you to give the project highly specialized instructions. And in anything you ask it under this instruction set, it no longer needs to be like, and don't forget to do this and don't forget to do that. Like, it knows. So you can come in here and ask it these very, very simple things, and it will translate that into a prompt for you. So yes, I will give you this, paste this in the description for you so you can create your prompt writer, and let's see what we would give it. So the idea here is we're going to set up a project for your photography business. And what that project is let's call it the operating system for everything that you do in your photography business. And what's interesting here is this is just a brain dump. I mean, I've done this exercise for myself, but I want to show you guys how sloppy it gets and show you how amazing that your prompt writer will translate this. So essentially what I'm asking it, set up a business project. To do so, we'll need a few things to bring it all together. I want you to create an ICP for my customer. And an ICP is really your ideal client, right? When it comes to your business, this is all marketing stuff. When it comes to your business, what does your ideal client look like? What How much do they have to spend? What's the problem that they're having that you can solve for them? With like all these things around it, right? And I'm telling it, I need you to create a prompt that will create a customer ICP. This document needs to capture everything about my ideal customer. I would like the prompt to ask me questions one by one to build this final document. So now what this does is we put this in the prompt, we then run it again, and it'll, at the end of it all, it'll create an ICP document. And that document is the context. And when you ask it something like, hey, I need you to create a website copy for my home page, it'll reference that ICP and it knows the type of language that reaches your ideal customer. So when your ideal customer finds you on Google, they go, oh, okay, this guy might be who I need for my headshots. And then they land on your homepage and they go, oh, wow, yeah, this is translating well. He speaks my general language, right? And it's all about walking that customer through that. Then we have, I need you to create a prompt that will also explain my brand voice. And again, ask me question by question about my brand voice. And the brand voice is important because for me, I have a very laid back tone. I have I've been in corporate for quite some time, so I have a corporate speak about me. But I try to be relatable. I try to be relaxed, and it's difficult to explain that to people in general. But it'll be difficult to explain that to ChatGPT. So it's gonna ask me one by one some questions to break down how I talk. Right. So let's go through this process and see what it looks like. First, we'll do the ICP. In my prompt writer, boom, boom, hit OK. And make sure you got your espresso. Very important when dealing with prompting. So let's look at what we've got. You are a senior brand specialist, customer insight analyst, right? Your tasks, boom. Who's my ideal client? What they care about, fear, avoid, value, who they think, decide, well, how they think, decide, and buy. Why they chose me over alternatives. Why non-ideal customers self-select out. And again, here it is going through all of its, and trust me, you can, for the sake of having this video not be 24 hours long, you can go back and read through all of this. It's quite fascinating, but because I've done most of it, we're just going to power through. So now you're going to take this prompt in its entirety. You're going to start a new chat. You're going to paste it, hit enter, and then we're just going to start answering some questions. We're not going to do the whole thing, but let's just show you what it looks like. If multiple things feel true, choose one that actually drives urgency. Okay. What is the primary job your photography must accomplish for the client at the moment they hire you? It must solve the problems they are having. For instance, and pardon my spelling, ain't my strong suit. If their headshot is not getting them enough attention on LinkedIn, I will solve that for them. And what's important here when doing this kind of ask me question by question way of doing it, you should be very upfront, very honest, very forthcoming, give as much details as you want. feel free to ramble. This is that time when you ramble, 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 because it gives the AI a better picture of who you are and where you are. That answer points in the right direction, but still describing the symptom, not the job. There we go. You see how it's starting to curve? So let's sharpen this. When their headshot fails to get attention, what is the real consequence they're worried about? Not getting the job or even the interview. And then here's the context that it also gives, right? Pick one that feels most true. Being overlooked. See, I didn't even need to, I can add that for color. Losing control, feeling misaligned, missing opportunities. Huh. The first four answers. You get the idea here. This is going to go on, and I urge you, when you're doing this process, grab some coffee, take some time, sit down, because I did mine took me about an hour and a half, and it was very insightful the way it was asking me the questions. There were some things I hadn't thought of before that I was like, okay, let me put that in the back of my brain. So take your time with the ICP. Now let's go back to the brand voice portion. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. So let's go back to the prompt writer. Boom, boom. And here it's coming back with the prompt. You are a brand voice architect specializing in creative service businesses. Yep. So here's the interesting thing about dealing with LLMs. Sometimes you'll notice the answers can be different because it's contextually remembering what I did the last prompt. Still, this is all fine. Here's the first question. When someone finishes working with you, whether it's a headshot client, editorial, whatever, what do you want them to say about the experience, not the photos? Again, this is where you take your time to answer these questions very honestly. And if you don't know, say I don't know. It's okay. The prompt was it was created in such a way where it'll pull you along, and it knows to identify the gaps and fill them in for you, and ask you following questions in such a way that spoon feeds you to get to those answers to address those gaps. So yeah, there's that. And then this is my favorite one. So much like we have the operating system of the much like we have the operating system of the prompt writer, you're going to create an operating system for your business GPT or GPT project. And here's some of the things that I'm asking it, right? I need you to be an advisor or board of advisors to be a creative director, a technical director, lighting, lenses, camera, all that good stuff, retoucher, copywriter, social media strategist, SEO and discovery strategist, business and pricing strategist, outreach, research. Like these are all gaps in my business that I didn't know existed, but I'm giving this to you super quickly, but it took me many months to figure out like, oh, what is it I don't know? And what is it I don't know? If I had to go out and hire that person, what would that person look like? These are all things that this operating system is gonna really fill out for you. So now that we have our ICP and our brand voice, we've got those documents, we go back into the prompt writer, we paste this prompt here. And this is all, let's call it base level. I'll also put this in the description. You guys can pull this prompt apart as much as you like. You can add as much to it as you like, whatever. All on you. So look what it's creating. You are Photography Business OS, the operating system for the photography business. Your job is, this is beautiful. Provide ongoing business context, operating principles, operates as a board of advisors covering both business roles and technical sub roles, right? So that means you've got the high level brain think behind it, but you also know how to do it. enforce verification, double check important claims, assumptions, math. So what I've done, and this is, if you guys are interested, leave a comment below, reach out to me separately. I can provide some more supporting structure to this whole operating system thing. For the sake of not having the video be longer than it probably already is, what I've done is I've developed a sort of way in my prompt that the OS checks itself. So it doesn't give me the first answer, it doesn't give me the second, it gives me the third. It knows how to debate itself, it knows how to reference documents that I give it, and I've expanded the documents that I've given it to give it even more context. And all that's about is making sure that the answer that I get is laser focused and as good as it can be. So essentially, you take this operating system, right? We go to new project, you call it photobias, whatever you would call it, create the project. And then in here, you would add the instruction for your OS, and then you would add the documents, your ICP and your brand voice. And those two documents will get you a far, far better result than just asking ChatGPT something on a base level. One of the things that I do is, in one of my pricing structures, I only deliver 3 images, and then I sell bundles, right? So like you can get a bundle of 5 images, and that'll cost you yada yada yada. So my session fee includes 3 edited images. If you want more, you have the option to get more. So the goal is to pull the client along and urge them to spend more. Now, in doing so, I've got to edit more images, and sometimes it can be tough. And when I cull images, you're gonna end up with 30 images or so. Like, okay, I like these images, but there's no way I'm editing all 30, right? Because no one's buying all 30. But I may edit 15 and just make it difficult for the client to sort of choose. So what I've gotten in the habit of doing is asking AI to, okay, I need you to sift through these images, and I need you to select, make the top selections for me. So here is a recent shoot that I've done. I should probably show you these in Explorer. You can get a much bigger view. So what's interesting about this set is a lot of these a lot of these poses can be repetitive, and it would be a crime to just deliver them that way and make the client choose from things that are so similar. And I'm terrible at critiquing my own work, so here's what I'll do. I need you to make, or to give me, the top 12 images from this session. I am looking for variety. Also, give me the file name of the images you select so I can pick them out later. When you do your selection, give me the reason you selected it and what makes it strong. Also, give me the top 1 to 2 strongest image so I can consider uploading to my portfolio. Okay. What's nice about dealing with AI is I can just brain dump. I don't have to like make sure my thoughts are organized and like just brain dump. Now, what I like about ChatGPT, and I mentioned at the top of the video, they all have their own use. What's nice about ChatGPT, they've got this agent mode. And what this agent mode does is it spins up a browser and it'll actually start looking through the images. Let's watch the magic. Okay, I'll select the top 12. Yep. There you go. Every now and then it says it can't access the link, but it usually tries again and it gets it. So here's what we have. It's given us a reason for selecting and the file name that I can just copy and paste in the Finder. And what's dope about this, let's take a look at some of these. A close-up portrait with the model's head tilted and braids pinned back. Dramatic lighting and thoughtful expression draw the viewer's attention. Strong for its intimacy and emotive quality. I mean, you know what I mean? But anyway, so scrolling down, and here's the two that it chose for my portfolio, and the reasons. The close up with the contemplative hand gesture has excellent composition and lighting. It feels refined and could work well in a portfolio portrait. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. And why this is so important of a tool and a process for me is because I was there. I took these photos. I work with this model. We created something special. And I am super attached to every image. And it's very difficult to objectively select what's best for the client and versus my favorites, because every one of them is my favorite. So yeah, this is just a great example of how useful of a tool ChatGPT and its agent mode is. Another example is just creating copy for a website. So let's go back to my OS and just say, I need the copy for my homepage. I want to keep it. Actually, you know what? I need copy for a super local portrait page. I want to keep this all about Rahway, my town, and offering portraits to the local businesses. That's it. Very vague. Let's see what it comes back with. I mean, what more is there to say, right? Like, of course, there's some fine tuning we can do, but because of how much context we gave the operating system and how much we defined our brand voice and who we are, those super vague questions we would ask it before now becomes like laser focused. And this is quite good. This is quite good. I mean, if I had to really put something like this into production, I'd probably ask it to reduce the copy to about 50%. It is a little heavy, but I get why it's heavy, right? It's giving me a breakdown of who I am, who you are, the problem that it's solving for you, how to get in like this is it. This is the dream. This is the stuff that would take me hours to arrive on my own, and hundreds of dollars to have someone come and do it for me. Here's another example. What if I wanted to create a post for social media? Let's take one of these images. Let's drop it in. Create a social media post for this image. The goal here is to attract clients who might want personable and intimate portraits like this. Let's see what it comes back with. I mean, I'm not too angry at this, and there's a few ways we can dial this in, right? Like if you don't like the structure, you can say, give me something more casual. And then you can say to ChatGPT from now on, this is the style I want. You can get rid of the M dashes, which is a dead giveaway that you're using AI. But at this point, I made a whole video about that. M dashes don't bother me the way everyone else has perfect spelling on social media because they're using spell check. We're all using tools. I'm not afraid, or I'm not ashamed of the tools that I'm using. It even gives me the hashtags, right? So portrait of presence. This is a project that I'm developing alongside or parallel to my headshot sessions, and um, this is designed for people to really have a space to just live out their story in my session. Very intimate, very quiet, very personable, very intentional sessions. This is not about editorial work. This is not about headshot commercial work. This is about the person, and it remembers that, right? And here's how the context starts to put together well in the GPT project. It knows that portraits like this are what I'm after. They're part of my portraits of presence. So you don't have to define stuff every time you ask it to do something. It remembers. And then let's do one more, right? Let's now take a portrait like this, and I'm gonna say, here is or let's just say, I'm working with this model again. We will be working on a super fun commercial session for speculation to attract some commercial work. Give me a session setup and a shot list that includes everything from hair, makeup to wardrobe. Let's sit back and let's see what it does for this. I mean, here we go. It's got a theme, industries we could target, right? You're selling relatable experience, sure. Natural protective styling stays, so it likes the braids. It speaks to a wide audience. The makeup, skin first philosophy, like this all makes sense. And this is what I was saying, like, I'm not a creative director. I would not have the language to explain this. Some of this I may have stumbled upon in myself by just putting 1,000% brain power to it. Most of it I would not. It's not. I'm a photographer, you know what I mean? Like this stuff is extremely difficult to me, and having this occupy the space where I should be focusing on my technical stuff and my business stuff is no good for any of it. So the fact that I can lean on this tool to do these things for me it's mind-blowing for me, quite honestly. And then here's the wardrobe, right? It gives me everything. Here's the lighting. Want to be soft, directional, a soft key window light if possible. Like this is insane. Here's a shot list. Off-camera candid moments, right? Like it essentially created the entire session for me. And then here's another step I could take it. Can you generate an image to give me an idea of what this would look like? Let's see what it does. I don't know, man. I don't know. There we are. So not only did it help me create the session and gave me everything I need, it also gave me like a visual guide to what I can expect, just in case I was having issues translating visually what it looked like on paper, or what it is on paper, to what it should look like. This is super powerful. At the end of the day, you could look at these images that it generated and say to yourself, then why even hire a photographer? Why not become a super prompt engineering? And I've had this conversation in 2 videos prior on this channel. That's on you. You're the one that has to really take the time to define your business and set it apart and realize your value and define your value and move forward accordingly. But ChatGPT, Gemini, the same can be done in Gemini and Claude. There's such amazing tools to help you fill that gap in your business. And at the end of the day, it frees you up. to do a lot more cool stuff, be it client acquisition, be it reaching out, be it fine tuning, running back in your comfort zone and obsessing over the creative parts. It at least allows a lot of the heavy lifting of the business stuff to be lifted off of your shoulders. And I think it's something we should all not ignore as professional photographers. And yeah, like I said, I'm willing to help. Any of you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments, reach out to me on Instagram, whatever. I'm happy to help anyone wrap their head around this and see how this could all work for us, because this is our community. And what I don't like is when I hop on Threads. Man, Threads is such a dumpster fire. I hate to see the arguments of some photographers saying you charge too much, you're not charging enough, and like, we're all a part of the community. And that finger pointing, you guys are using AI, you're the problem, you're not using AI, you're the like. I would love for us to come together as a community and figure out how we can move forward together, because as a community is how we will maintain the integrity of our craft and be able to make a living doing so. And I hope you enjoyed the long video, quite a lot here, and I hope it brings value to you. And yes, of course, time is the most valuable resource that we have, and I do not take it lightly that you shared. I do not take it lightly. I keep saying likely. It's likely that you shared some of yours here with me today. My name is Ramon. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.